Hello, Aquarius Rising. This is Scopes Unshamed for May 2026. So, before we dive into May, I would like to invite you to go back and listen to April. And this is why I have found it to be true that it's a pretty incredible thing to be with the astrology, living the astrology, creating evidence, creating data, noticing what's happening in your life and then be able to look back on, what was said about that astrology and relate it to what actually did happen to you. And what can happen is it allows you to be able to reframe your experiences in magical language. And then when this happens, you're able to anchor down deeper into the sense of like the larger story that's unfolding in my life, the larger pathway that I'm on and living. And so then you can take that anchored sense into your experience of the horoscope of what's ahead, which is what we're doing here for the May 2026 Scopes Unshamed. So advise you to go back and listen to that before you listen to this. All right, here we go. Now let's get into May. So, one of the fun things about May 2026 is that we have a full moon at the beginning of the month and then a full moon on the 31st at the very end of the month. So, the whole month is sort of laying between these full moons. This is a rare thing. Both those moons are going to feel really different. And I'm inviting you to track that and notice how they're quite different for you. So we start the month on May 1st with a full moon in Scorpio, and I think this is going to be a really big one for you. Let's drop into this. So Scorpio is the sign that you have governing your 10th house of career, your reputation, what you're known for. This is a sign that is a way, it's a way of being that is very researching, probing, penetrating. It's an extremely truth seeking part of us. It's this part of us that's like, I am going to get to the truth of this thing. I am going to get to the root of this thing. I'm going to get to the deeper intelligence underneath what I'm seeing to find like the heart of the matter, to find the heart of the matter. So you may find that that kind of energy is behind whatever it is that you're known for bringing into the world. Your Scorpio is the polar sign of Taurus, which is where our sun is at the beginning of May. So there's always a full moon in Scorpio, which is for you lighting up your most public self every spring when we're in Taurus season. And when we have a full moon, the way I like to think about it is it's not a time to like take action. It's a time to sit back and notice what is being illuminated. Like sit back. The moon is illuminating your life. What is being illuminated? You don't have to manage this. You can't fuck it up. You just follow the signs. The signs are what's happening in me, what's happening through me, what is happening around me. And to what degree are these experiences? Well, to what degree is this information? And to what degree are your feelings about this information giving you guidance, giving you signs, omens, suggestions, invitations, assignments for understanding your role in the public field? Yeah, so sit back and take that in because that 10th house where you have Scorpio is, that's like it's like if you think about your life as a tree and where you have Taurus is like the roots of the tree, like where you come from. That's where you come from, the deep roots. Scorpio for you is like the branches, but more than that, it's like the fruit at the end of the branches that people can take. And so, how you feel about what you're giving people to take is going to be how you relate to yourself vis-a-vis your public life. So shame can really thrive here. Because, we may have been conditioned to believe that successful fruit bearing, looks XYZ ways. And if it's not like this, then it's a failure. Or maybe you've been conditioned to believe that you have all this potential that you've now squandered. There's no such thing as potential. There's only emergence, is what I say. You may have been conditioned to believe that you don't have good fruit and there's no way anyone would want your fruit. So, this is a huge zone for shame. So, my guidance would also be to notice any shame that's coming up around the full moon, especially about like who you've become in the world, because that is coming up for you to see where you can give more love to yourself, where unshaming would be really powerful for you. Where do you want to disrupt these distortions about you and these distortions about what fruit bearing is supposed to be? How can you reclaim yourself here? So, this will be really important for you because like whatever needs to get snipped out of the way, that's going to clear the way now for you to come in more empowered to have a good time being whoever you are. Liberate yourself. So then from that full moon, like whatever that information is that you get, whatever the medicine is that you receive, you will continue to be really living that and metabolizing it and processing it in the weeks after as we build toward the new moon in Taurus, which is on the 16th, the very middle of the month. In that time, you may find yourself coming into a no, a no to something, a no to a relationship, a no to a way of being, a no to a habit, a no to a way you talk to yourself, a no to a worldview, a no to a limiting belief, a no to a job, a no to a place. All of it may be beginning to just become very visible to you. I call this particular kind of no an emergent no. I came into this framework because not every no is a fuck no. I wish it was. Fuck no's are very straightforward. They're often very exhilarating to enact. It's not that complicated. Emergent no's are more complicated because they're let me frame what it is. So if you think about like how humans can only be so conscious and aware of themselves at any given time. Like there's a whole bunch about us that we can't see and don't have consciousness around. That's our unconscious. So if you think about like look if you're on the beach looking at the surface of the ocean, everything that you can see is what you're conscious and aware of about yourself. And then there's all this stuff under the surface of the water that's like we don't know. Like we don't know why we're the way we are. We don't know why we said that when we didn't think we even wanted that, Um, these are coming from places we just haven't really visited yet. And part of what I teach is how to get into contact with all these parts so that we don't surprise ourselves so much. So the emergent no is like been under the surface. It was there, you just weren't conscious of it. And it starts to emerge and show its little head like, hey, are you going to see me now? Okay, so why was it under the surface of the water? It was under the surface of our conscious awareness because previously we didn't have the capacity, the resources, the tools to be with the change that acknowledging that no was going to bring into our lives. So there's intelligence to why we weren't looking at that no. We could have had the snow for months. We could have had the snow for years. We could have had the snow for decades. But all timing is perfect. I teach in emergence astrology. And now you do have the capacity, you do have the resources, you do have the tools to be with that no and the change it's going to bring, or else you wouldn't be seeing it consciously. So it's coming up and it may feel like frustration. We often feel really like we feel like kind of dissonance in our lives when it's starting to show. And it's like, what is this? And it can take a minute. So I've included a free workshop and PDF from when I taught on this a couple of years ago. It's called Abundance Begins with No, and how like acknowledging, being with, enacting, staying with yourself through this no, and every emergent no of your life brings you more abundance. So it's free. If anything I'm saying here is bringing things up for you, inviting you to go enjoy this resource because it was such a fun workshop and I made a beautiful PDF that goes with it. Okay. So over the course of April and into May, it just may be becoming more and more clear that like you want to update certain things. Maybe you're ending them. Maybe you're just changing the agreements, changing the way of doing a thing. And over the course of the first half of the month, you're just getting more and more and more clear about this. And some of this may be rooted in like deep familial history, childhood programming, lineage, trauma. Like you're just seeing that like you have a choice here. You don't have to keep living this. It's ending with you. It's updating with you. This could be pretty deep because you have Taurus in the fourth house, which is childhood home, lineage, parents, what you're from, the context of who you are. Pretty deep. So that material is like coming up for you to clear it so you can come into present time with yourself and come into sovereignty with what has been put on you, what you've carried in. And this will be a healing in all directions across time. And it just may feel really big. And that's because it is big. Um, it just is. So you're going to stay with it and get clear by the middle of the month. So the clarity will come in the middle. And by the new moon, what you can do is set a real commitment with yourself. You don't have to act on anything. You don't have to do anything impulsive. You don't have to make proclamations. It's not about external action. It's about internal commitment. You make the commitment to yourself, and that is going to make all the difference. And watch how the next 12 months go for you because you gave this your loving attention. Pretty powerful. So then after that new moon at the middle of the month, things are really going to shift. We're going to have 4 planets moving signs. And it's just going to be like, whoa, like that part of the month is over. You know, like that part of the season of spring is over. Moving into Gemini now. And this energy is going to kind of take off. Things are moving quickly. And you are now integrating, metabolizing, living with what you just worked through across April and the first half of May. I think that's going to feel really nice because it can feel hard to be kind of in that now that I'm aware of this, what am I going to do? But once you get to that clarity, now you can move and it feels so good to have gotten clear with yourself. So enjoy the second half of the month as things start moving around. I do want to give your attention to the fact that there's kind of a big day. It's May 22, so it'll also show up around that. For you, Uranus has moved into your fifth house and will be there for 7 years. Your fifth house is Gemini, and this is your creative house. This is where you create, you procreate, you have hobbies, you move things through you that you pass on. So you're like a creative, generative being. Um, this whole sector of your life is getting a major update because Uranus awakens and liberates. And that awakening process is can be very destabilizing and disruptive at the beginning because you're learning like what is Uranus wanting me to learn that is going to liberate me, but for a bit may not feel fully liberating yet because I'm like getting used to it. And the sun is going to meet up with Uranus on that date, the 22nd. And so the sun is going to illuminate what is Uranus and Gemini wanting me to be learning the next 7 years. So wherever you may feel not in your power, not in your authority, wherever you may feel chained to somebody else, wherever you are tethering your authority to someone's invalidation of you, where you are tethering your authority to the old shame, that may get illuminated. But I want you to understand that it's being illuminated so you can do these updates. You can move through what you're going to move through so that no more, like not in my fifth house of creativity. This is my space for my authority. So it's really exciting, but it may bring up like, whew, that's kind of hard to notice because, I mean, it's not fun when you notice that you're giving your authority away to something beyond you. But if that's showing up, I want you to understand that that's why it's being illuminated. It's being illuminated so you can get the tools you need, the teachers you need, the experiences you need, and the practices that you need that are going to help update you into present time where you're the authority of your creative life. So that's there. Okay. Um, yeah, you might want to plan to come back and listen to this, like make a note, third week of May or so to come back and listen. Um, get empowered here. And then there's also just some like general yeah, I think also around the 25th for you it might be fairly intense, more intensity because Pluto is moving through your first house, which is a big deal. There's a lot that's changing about you over this next decade plus. And you're already in that now. You've been living Pluto in Aquarius for a bit of time. And then you also have Mars going into Taurus. Taurus, we were just talking about lineage, parents, childhood home. And they're going to make what we call a square, a 90-degree angle. And Mars and Pluto, when they make conversation, they tend to bring up like, whoa, like there can be like aspects to it that can feel intense. Toxicity can be shown, violence, even. Not, I don't mean this in a scary way, but like we have underworld parts of us. Like we have aspects to ourselves and to others where there are secrets, where there are power plays. And Mars and Pluto tend to be exposing, like really exposing. I think we're going to see whatever that means collectively. That will be one thing. But then there will also be the personal data, the personal, how is this showing up in my life? And so it's like they're helping us become people who don't have secrets. Shame thrives in silence and isolation. Unshaming is the process of opening into transparency, being a person where everything is available for me to look at in myself. I hold the key to every door of myself. And so I'm naming that because this energy is very sort of like how are secrets in my closet, particularly like the family closet, um, not helpful to my most authentic expression as I enter the world. And like, this is ultimately helpful, but it may have intensity. And that's going to be related to how deeply in practice you are with your own inner world, you know? And my spaces are designed to facilitate the vulnerability of letting yourself be seen. So if you're wanting to find a place for practicing loving yourself, basically, inviting you into my world even deeper. So you can start with that workshop. It's from 2022, so it's a little older, but it's like still extremely relevant to give you a sense of what I do. And I create community spaces where we talk the way I'm talking right now. And that feels really good because you can feel like they're all parts of you can be seen and there's a space for all of you. So that those kinds of transits don't bite you so hard, you know? We're becoming people who can't be like absolutely turned upside down and exposed by the transits in a way that shocks us. So, let me finish up. We get to the full moon then. The full moon on the 31st is a full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so this full moon, I think when you sit back and you appreciate looking at the illumination of your life, I think you're going to really enjoy it because there's a lot of support in this full moon for you to see. Well, that's actually exactly what I want you to pay attention to is how supported you are. Like, we humans do this related to shame. We like don't see the support that's there. You know, it's like we enjoy the kink of um being isolated and alone. Like we humans are fascinating and we're doing what we can to live with shame from the shame culture. But unshaming invites you to see that in fact you have agency, in fact you have authority, in fact you do have responsibility, in fact you are supported. You are supported by the people in your life. You're supported by your networks. There are people rooting for you. There are people celebrating you. And that's really like, I think, going to come forward for you if you're willing to look at it, you know? And so bask in the wonder of the way people have come to you at just the right time. Bask in the wonder of how the teachers appeared when you needed them. Bask in the wonder of how, like, you got the exact favor that you wanted. And nurturance lives here, and that your community is your abundance. And that's where luck lives for you. Get into it. Get into it. Um, yeah, I mean, you Aquarius rising have Sagittarius in the 11th house of good spirit. And that's about the spirit of what constellates you with other humans. So, like, your networking zone is a place of abundance, generosity, luck, and inviting you to see that because not everybody has a Jupiter ruled 11th house the way you do. And that, you know, your community is where you will find the uplift that you're looking for in your life. I believe that's it. Yeah, thank you so much. Tune in again in a couple weeks. It will really help you to hear it again when you're in the midst of it. And then I'll see you in June. Cheers.